Welcome, y'all. It's so wonderful to see some familiar faces from Tuesday and also to see some new faces. So if you weren't with us on Tuesday, we talked about part one of healthy relationships, which was about healthy coworkers, healthy friends, healthy relationships with family members. Tonight is part two. We're going to be talking specifically about dating. So we're going to be talking about what is healthy and unhealthy in your dating relationships. So my name is Megan, and I get to teach classes with young adults, so 18, 22-year-olds in transition programs here in Austin, Texas. I get to teach classes on healthy relationships and safer sexuality. So I'm super excited to be here to talk to y'all tonight about this. And before working at SAFE, I worked for the ARC of Texas. So a lot of my passion is working with and for people with disabilities. So thanks so much for having me tonight. And I'm gonna let Maggie introduce herself.
Hello, I'm Maggie Suter, and I'm so happy to be invited to present to you all tonight. And not only do I see Sue from my old neighborhood parents group, but I see Courtney, and Courtney and I serve on a committee together. So I'm happy to see you, Courtney, and glad that you're here. So I teach classes also at SAFE. I teach holistic healing to adults that live in group homes or other group settings. And so I really love doing that. So I get to go spend lots of time when it's not COVID with some of my favorite people. But in my past, I was a teacher and a diagnostician, and I do some work with the ARC. Yeah, so that's me. Tonight we're going to talk about the healthy relationships. But before we do that, I want to tell you a little bit about SAFE. SAFE is in Austin. That's where Megan and I live. And we help people who are being hurt. It's for everyone. Anyone can contact us if they're being hurt, and it's free. If you see our passport over here, those passports show that, we are for everyone. And it doesn't really matter if you're in Dallas, you can still call us. Again, it's free, there's no money required, and we are welcoming to everyone. And if you'll notice that we have the trans flag and the, transgender flag and the equality LGBTQ flag. So, any questions about any of that? All right.
And Maggie, I'm gonna stop my screen share for a second. Every once in a while, when I share my screen, my chat disappears. But then usually if I get out of it and go back in, I can get my chat again. So let's see if it worked for me this time. Yes. Want to make sure I don't miss any of y'all's chats tonight. All right. So Maggie and I also, before we jump in, just wanted to let y'all know that we are something called mandatory reporters. So in general, what y'all share with us tonight in class will stay here in class. We won't go tell other people your personal stories. Anything you share will stay what's called confidential. That means we're not going to tell other people. There's only one exception to that, and that's if you tell us that you're being hurt. Because if you tell us that you're being hurt, then we have to go get some help. And so we would go to a group that's through the Texas Department of Family and Protective Services. We would go to a group called Adult Protective Services. So just so you'll know, if you tell us that you're being hurt, we'll have to get help, but we'll let you know if we have to make that report, and we will work together with you to get that done. Because we are going to talk about abuse tonight and about people being hurt. So we just want y'all to know ahead of time so you can decide what you want to share with us and what you don't want to share with us. The other thing is, please take care of yourselves during the training tonight. So we will talk about some topics that can be kind of hard to talk about. So if you need to take a break, that is totally okay. You are welcome to take a break. You're welcome to take some deep breaths, right? Sometimes it can be really helpful just to take that deep breath in and let it out, right? Sometimes just taking that deep breath can help you feel a little better. So if you're feeling at any point tonight like, oh, this is a lot of information, check in with yourself, take that deep breath, take a break, and know you can always pass too. We're gonna play some games, but if you don't feel like participating, that's totally fine. We love having participation, but we also totally understand if you need to just pass on participating. It's So you have the right to do that as we go through class tonight.
So let's just do a little check-in. If you looked on the screen, you'll see some emojis. At the top, that's number 1, it's kind of angry. Number 2 is sad. If you look at 3 with 3 fingers, feeling a little tired. 4 is happy and 5 is excited. So how are you feeling? If you just want to hold up the finger that describes how you're feeling right now. I'll do mine. Let me see. All
Like,
right. We've got some happy people in the room. Good. Lots of 4s.
I see Robert in the chat said that he's feeling very tired. So appreciate you being here, even if you're tired, Robert. I know it's the end of the day. Thanks for checking in, y'all. Maggie, should we go over what we're going to talk about tonight in class?
Let's do that.
Awesome.
Okay, so now that we checked in, we're going to play a game, a relationship hearts game. We're going to talk about our blue circles. We're going to check in about consent, and then we're going to play a game about consent. And then at the end, we're going to talk about our safety plans.
All right. So the first thing to get us ready to play our game, we're going to think a little bit about what makes a relationship healthy. And so we're going to watch a video that has some amazing drawings from our coworker Heidi. Some of y'all got to meet Heidi on Tuesday. They're an amazing artist. So we're going to watch a video that Heidi made. You might hear Heidi talk a little bit about safe classes. That's because this is a video that Heidi made for some classes that we teach here in Austin. So you don't have to pay attention to that, but really pay attention to what Heidi says about what makes a relationship healthy. So we're going to watch this video and then we're going to talk about it.
Welcome back to our Safe Class videos. My name is Heidi, and in these videos, we're going to keep talking about how you can be safer in all of your relationships. Our videos for this week are all about healthy and unhealthy relationships. We're going to talk about what a healthy relationship looks like and what an unhealthy relationship looks like. So raise your hand if you want healthy and safe relationships in your life. That's right. We all want healthy, safe relationships with our friends, with our family, and with our romantic partners. Check out our other video for this week where Megan talks all about the parts of a healthy relationship. In order for a relationship to be healthy, you need safety. Both people need to feel physically and emotionally safe. You need respect. Both people need to show each other respect. And you need equality. Both people need to feel that the relationship is fair and equal. And finally, you need communication, good communication. Both people need to talk to each other using the tools from their relationship toolbox, like the no tool and I statements. Like Megan says in her video, the other thing about healthy relationships is that they feel really good for both people most of the time.
All right, y'all. So that's kind of an intro to healthy relationships. Let's talk about it more. Let's break it down a bit. So let's talk about the different parts of a healthy relationship that came up in that video. Get to the next slide. Here we go. All right, y'all. So the first part of a healthy relationship is safety. Both people feel safe. Does anyone want to share? You can put it in the chat, or if you want to share out loud, raise your hand and you can unmute yourself. What does that mean to feel safe? How do you know if you're safe in your relationships? I I see some people thinking and talking about it. You're welcome to share in the chat if you have ideas or if you want to. I see Lashaishala says not paranoid or scared. Yes, I love that, Lashaishala. You should never feel like you're scared or you're paranoid, meaning paranoid like you're afraid that you're going to do something wrong or you're worried that that person's going to hurt you. Cindy also said not scared. Susan and Eric said feeling secure, so feeling really good. Absolutely, y'all. That's right on. And Courtney just, I got it. Courtney just changed her name. Got it. So that was Courtney who said that. Awesome. So yeah, we want you to feel in your relationships, all your relationships, physically safe. So that means that the person's never hurting your body, but also emotionally safe, right? You want to feel like you can be honest about how you're feeling, that you can tell that person what's going on with you and they're going to respect you and they're going to listen to you. I see Lucas says in the chat, feeling secure. Absolutely. Good idea, Lucas. Thank you. And so we're going to be talking tonight about romantic partners. When I say romantic partner, that's just a word for like a boyfriend or a girlfriend. We're talking about someone that you have like love for, or you really think they're cute, you want to date them. We're going to talk about how do you be safe in those relationships. I love what Robert says too in the chat, feeling at ease. Definitely. You want to be totally comfortable with that person, feel totally at ease. All right. Both people respect each other. What do y'all think about that? What does respect mean? How do you know if your partner, the person you're dating, is respecting you? Feel free to share any ideas y'all have in the chat. Stacy says they listen. Yes, that's huge, y'all. Someone is definitely showing me respect if when I'm talking, they're listening. I love it. Lucas was thinking the same thing. It's really, really important. Just like all of y'all are being really respectful in this training right now by you're paying attention, you're listening. That's the same thing you want in your dating relationships, right? That when you're talking, that person listens to you. Ooh, Courtney, this is a good one. They think what you say is important, even if they don't always agree. Yes, totally, y'all. Sometimes dating partners don't always agree on things, but they should still care about what you have to say. Lashaishala says they have your back. Yeah, that's huge. Someone who has your back. Robert says they understand and acknowledge your feelings. Ooh, I love that, right? They're paying attention to how you're feeling and they're trying to understand how you're feeling. Oh, Susan and Eric are giving me a beautiful transition to our next one. They said, feel like you have an equal say. That is so right. The relationship should feel fair and equal. Y'all, no one is the boss in a dating relationship. It is not okay for one person to make all the decisions or to be like, you have to do this, you have to do that, right? That's not healthy. You want a relationship, like Susan and Eric said, where you feel like you have an equal say, where both people get to make decisions, both people's opinions matter. And all of this, y'all already started to bring this up, all of this goes to good communication. That's another part of a healthy relationship, is that both people are listening to each other, both when they're talking about good things and when they're feeling bad, when they're saying, hey, I'm having a really hard time. You want someone to pay attention. Like Lucas says, feeling like you have an equal say. Totally. That's super important, y'all. So you want to have good communication. You want it to feel equal. You want to have respect and you want to have safety. Those are 4 things that are really important in a healthy relationship. And the number one thing to remember is that both people should feel good most of the time. So I know someone, I'm trying to look up here earlier. Yes, Courtney was talking about sometimes you don't always agree. So even in a healthy relationship, sometimes dating partners do not agree. Y'all, I love my husband. There are times though that I'm like, wait a second, I do not agree with that, right? We don't always get along. Sometimes we have disagreements. But we got to do that in a respectful way. So even if we're disagreeing, we're still caring for the other person. And so it's not like 100% of the time it's rainbow, sunshine, butterflies, but most of the time you should feel good. And you should always feel safe when you're with that person. No matter what, you got to feel safe. So I love it. Y'all have been sharing some great things in the chat about what makes a healthy relationship. Now we're going to watch the second part of the video where we're going to think about what are some warning signs that maybe your relationship is not as healthy. So remember, we know healthy, we got to feel safe, We got to feel respected. We got to feel equals and like we have good communication. We're feeling good. Now we're going to talk about what are some things that might happen in your relationship that might be kind of like a warning sign, a sign to stop and think, is this a healthy relationship? Is this okay? So we're going to watch and we're going to talk about it.
So now you're thinking, okay, cool. We talked about what a healthy relationship looks like and what you need for a relationship to be healthy. But what does an unhealthy relationship look like? And how do you know if your relationship is unhealthy? And that's a really great question. You need to know some things that people can do or ways that people can act that make a relationship unhealthy and unsafe for you. So first, we're going to talk about some things that people do in relationships that might be warning signs that the relationship is unhealthy. And these warning signs are important because they let you know that something in the relationship is not right. But when we say warning signs, we're not really talking about somebody holding a sign that says warning. Sorry, dude. What we're talking about when we say warning signs are things that a person does in a relationship that are not healthy. It's always important to trust your feelings in relationships. If someone is making you feel sad, scared, or bad, that relationship might not be safe or healthy for you, and you should listen to those feelings. Now, let's take a look at some things in relationships that are warning signs. These are things that people do that are not healthy. The first warning sign that we're going to talk about is when the person you're in a relationship with cancels your dates or your plans a lot. I mean, it's normal for things to come up sometimes, but if someone keeps canceling on you, that's not okay because it shows that they're not respecting you or your time.
All right, y'all. So there's our first warning sign. Someone is canceling a lot of your dates. Like Heidi said in the video, we all have things that come up, right? There's emergencies that can happen. But what do y'all think? If someone's canceling all the time, just like last minute not showing up or being like, sorry, not coming, does that feel respectful? Thumbs up or thumbs down? Does that feel respectful if someone is always just last minute canceling on you? I see Eric and Susan are giving that a thumbs down. Lucas is giving that a thumbs down. Beverly, what do you think about that? Is that respectful? See, Beverly's giving that a thumbs down. Stacy, what do you think? Is that respectful? No, Stacy's giving that a thumbs down. Y'all can also share it in the chat if you don't want to give a thumbs up or thumbs down. Robert says, nope. Courtney's giving that the thumbs down emoji. Yep, y'all are right. Shai Shala gives it the thumbs down emoji. So we said that in a healthy relationship, there's got to be respect. And so if someone is always just not making you a priority, that means they're not valuing your time. They're not trying to spend time with you. That's a warning sign that that's not healthy. Let's look at some other ones.
The second warning sign we're going to talk about is when the person you're in a relationship with hangs up the phone on you when they're mad. Now, this is a warning sign because remember that communication is part of a healthy relationship. And you want somebody who knows how to communicate their feelings in ways that are healthy and safe. Like using I statements to let you know that they're mad. You should feel safe with your partner, even when they're mad. And if they do things when they're mad that make you feel unsafe, that's a big sign that that relationship isn't healthy.
All right, y'all. So hanging up in the middle of a phone call. It is totally normal when you're disagreeing with someone to have some big emotions, right? You might feel really angry. You might feel stressed out, sad, or scared. But if you just hang up the phone, if you're like, I don't want to hear it, I'm hanging it up. Is that going to solve the problem in your relationship? Is that going to help you work it out? See, people are shaking their heads. No. Scrolling through, yeah, I see lots of people are shaking their heads. No, yep, y'all are right on. So it's okay to say you need a break, right? If you're feeling those big emotions and you're like, I can't talk calmly with my partner. Sometimes that happens, right? I've certainly had times where I'm like, my emotions are too big right now. I don't think I can have a conversation. And so you can say, hey, I need to take a break. I'm going to go for a walk. I'm going to take some deep breaths. I'm going to listen to music. I'm going to talk to someone I trust. But you got to let your partner know, right? You can say, hey, I need to take a break before we keep talking. I'll call you back. That's all you have to do. But if someone's just hanging up on you in the middle of your calls and always not listening to you when you're telling them what's going on with you, that's a warning sign. All right, let's watch another one.
The next warning sign we're going to talk about is when the person you're in a relationship with is controlling. That means they tell you what you can and cannot do. For example, they might tell you what you can and cannot wear, and that's not okay. Your partner shouldn't control what you wear or what you do. Remember, in a healthy relationship, there's equality. That means that one person is not the boss of the other person.
All right, so like Heidi said, one person in the relationship is not the boss. So it is not okay for your partner to be like, you can't wear that, or you can't talk to your friend, or I don't want you to go online. I don't want you to be on Snapchat, right? That's controlling behavior. That's when someone's trying to tell you what you can do and what you can't do. And we know, we said it a minute ago, y'all came up with it on your own. We want people to be equals, right? We want both people to have a say. Robert saying in the chat, no, not cool, not an okay thing. I'm going to play out the rest of the video. We're going to see what the last few warning signs are.
And if you feel like your partner is bossing you around, that's a big sign that your relationship might not be healthy. Another warning sign in relationships is when one partner says mean things to the other person to try to hurt their feelings or to try to make them feel bad about what they're eating, what they're wearing, how they look, or anything else about themselves. This is never okay. And if your partner ever says things to you just to make you feel bad about who you are or what you like or what you're doing, that's a warning sign that your partner is not treating you with respect and kindness, and that this relationship isn't healthy. Another warning sign is when one person tries to control who the other person talks to. They might do this in person by telling their partner that they can't talk to certain people or friends or family even, or they might do this online by telling their partner that they can't go online or they can't have social media. This is never okay. If your partner ever tries to tell you who you can and can't talk to, that's a really big warning sign that this relationship isn't a healthy one. Another big warning sign in relationships is when one person keeps texting the other person over and over and over again, non-stop, all day or all night. It's not okay for one person to text or call non-stop. This could even be harassment, and this is a sign that the relationship is not healthy. So if one of these warning signs happens in your relationship, if your partner or a friend or a family member does something that makes you feel bad, scared, or just sad, that's a sign that you need to stop and really think about whether or not this relationship is safe and healthy for you. Thinking that your relationship could be unhealthy can be hard. So take a minute to think about those people that you're really close to, the people in your life that you love and trust the most, the people in your blue circle. Those are the people that can help you decide if a relationship is unhealthy and unsafe for you. You can talk to whoever's in your blue circle. Maybe it's your mom, maybe it's your dad, maybe it's a teacher, maybe it's a coach, maybe it's someone else in your family. But reach out to those people to get help.
All right, so we talked a little bit about the blue circle of trust on Tuesday. We'll talk about it again in a minute. But first, we're going to think through a little bit more what's healthy and what's unhealthy, and then we'll talk about how do you get help. So y'all, I want to pull up that last one. What do you think? Is it okay if you haven't heard back from the person that you're dating to just blow up their phone, right? To just keep texting them, keep calling them, being like, what are you doing? Why aren't you texting me back? Who are you with? You got to talk to me right now. What do we think? Thumbs up or thumbs down? Is that okay to do to your partner? See, Eric and Susan are giving that the thumbs down. Courtney gave it the double thumbs down emoji in the chat. Beverly, what do you think about that? Is that okay to just keep texting them over and over again all day, all night, just blowing up their phone? Beverly says thumbs up. Lucas, what do you think about that? Lucas is maybe going to put it in the chat. I see Robert says absolutely not. Shaishula gives that the double thumbs down. Lucas says absolutely not. Stacy, what do you think of that? Stacy shaking the head. No, not cool. Yep. That's not respectful, right? That's controlling, right? If you're just like, why aren't you talking to me? You got to talk to me right now. Text me back. Why aren't you texting me back? Call, right? That's not respectful, right? You got to respect that other person's time. So we're going to play a game and we're going to show some different things that people do in relationships on some hearts. And there's going to be some pictures with it. And I want y'all to think, is that a healthy relationship behavior or is that a warning sign? Is that a warning sign that it might be unhealthy? So when I read it, you can give a thumbs up if you're like, yeah, that's healthy, or you can put it in the chat. If you're like, whoa, that's a warning sign, that's not healthy, you can give me a thumbs down, or you can put that in the chat. Let's take a look at some of them. All right, the person respects your sexual limits. So y'all, sexual limits are when you say, this is what I'm comfortable with my body, and this is what I'm not comfortable with. So you might say like, I'm okay making out, but I'm not ready to have sex. Or I only like when you touch my body from the waist up. Or I'm ready to have sex, but I want to wait a little bit longer, right? It's when you tell someone what you're comfortable with and what you're not comfortable with. So what do y'all think? If your partner respects your sexual limits, they listen to you and they respect what you want to do and what you don't want to do, is that healthy? Or is that a warning sign that it's unhealthy? You can put it in the chat or you can use a thumbs up or thumbs down. I see Eric and Susan are giving that a thumbs up. I see we've got a bunch of different opinions here. Stacy's giving that a thumbs up. Lucas is giving that a thumbs down. Beverly, can you move your hand down a little bit? I can't quite see. Looks like Beverly's giving that a thumbs down. LaShaishula is giving it a double thumbs up in the chat. All right, so we got some different opinions here. Robert says healthy. That's what both of you should do. Yes, I agree with Robert. So some of y'all may have given it a thumbs down because maybe you were thinking, I'm not ready to have sex. And that's totally fine if you don't want to, right? And that's what we're talking about is that if you tell your partner, I don't want to do that, they need to respect it. They need to listen to you, right? Or if you tell them, this is what I like sexually, they should listen to that too, right? Like Robert says, that's what both of you should do. It's really important to have that conversation with your dating partner about what you're okay with and what you're not okay with. We got this picture here where someone's saying, is this okay? And they're getting consent. Maggie's going to talk about consent a little bit later in class tonight. All right, let's do another one. The person tells other people your secrets. You tell them something really personal and private, and they're like, oh, okay, yeah, I'll keep that personal. And then they go and they tell a whole bunch of other people your personal information, your secrets. Is that healthy or unhealthy? Warning sign that it's unhealthy. They're telling other people your personal info, your secrets. What do y'all think? Eric's giving that a thumbs down. Courtney's giving that a thumbs down. Beverly's giving that a thumbs down. Lucas looks like he's thinking about it. Stacy says unhealthy, distrustful. Yeah. You would totally lose my trust. If I tell you something in confidence, that means I tell you something really personal that I don't want you to tell others. And then you go tell a bunch of people, that would hurt my feelings, right? That's not okay for someone. That's not their story, right? You should only share your own stories. If it's someone else's story, you don't get to tell their story, right? That's their story to tell. Robert says that's a relationship ender for me. Yeah, I agree, Robert. That's a big warning sign. And that might even be a relationship ender. If someone's telling your secrets, your personal info, you could totally be like, hey, not cool. This relationship's over. All right, let's do another one. The person listens when you talk to them. When you talk to them about what's going on, they're paying attention. They're listening to you. What do y'all think? Healthy or a warning sign of an unhealthy relationship? Eric's giving that a thumbs up. Lucas is giving that a thumbs up. Stacy's giving that a thumbs up. See, I know some people are using the chat. Courtney gives it a thumbs up in the chat. Beverly, your hand's really close to the camera, so I can't see if it's a thumbs up or a thumbs down. There, perfect, right there. Yes, that's a thumbs up. Amazing, Beverly, thank you. LaShaishala gives that a thumbs up. Yes, y'all. That's one of the things we talked about in a healthy relationship, right? There's respect. The other person listens to them. Robert should be like teaching this class because Robert's coming up with amazing things in the chat. He says healthy and you should listen too. Yes, totally important for it to go both ways, right? So just like you want your partner to listen when you're talking, you should listen to your partner when they're talking. That's just as important. All right, let's do a couple more. The person tells you what you can and cannot post online. So you were going to go, you took a cute picture, you're super excited to post it on Instagram, and they're like, oh no, you can't do that. I don't want you to do that. Your partner's like, this is what you can do online. This is what you can't do. What do y'all think? Is that healthy? Or is that a warning sign that your relationship's unhealthy? Eric's giving that a thumbs down. Susan's giving that a thumbs down. Stacy says warning sign. Lucas gives it a thumbs down. Beverly gives it a thumbs down. Yes. Shaishala gives it a thumbs down in the chat. Y'all are right on. Robert says that's controlling. Yep, we talked about that earlier in one of the videos. It's not okay for someone to try to control you, right? To tell you what you can and cannot do. If it's online, if it's in person, never okay, right? No one is the boss in a relationship. You got to be equals and you got to decide together, right? And it's not okay for the person you're dating to be like, oh, you can't talk to this person. I only want you to talk to me. That's really unhealthy. That's a warning sign that your relationship is getting really unhealthy. The person tells you that you should only hang out with them. I love you so much. You should just let's spend all of our time together. I love you so much. Just please only hang out with me. I love you so much. I just want to spend more time with you. What do y'all think? Is that healthy or is that a warning sign? Yeah, Eric's giving that a thumbs down. Courtney's giving that the double thumbs down. Robert gives it a thumbs down in the chat. Looks like Lucas is giving a thumbs down. Stacy says not healthy. Totally, it's not okay, like we said, for someone to control you online or in person, right? Because just because you start dating someone doesn't mean you suddenly don't care about your family or your friends, right? Those people are still super important to you. And if anything, when I'm married now, but when I was dating and I was meeting new people, I wanted my family and my friends to meet that person, right? You want the people you trust to meet them and to be like, okay, yeah, this seems like a good person for you, right? Courtney says, even if they say it's a good thing to hang out 24/7, that's not healthy. Yes. So sometimes this gets tricky because they might say things like, I really love you. And it's just because I love you so much that I want to be with you all the time. And that can get a little confusing. But it's important to remember that just because you're dating someone doesn't mean you don't have other relationships. You still have your friends, you still have your family. Even when you get married to someone, you still have your friends, you still have your family, right? It's really important to keep all those different relationships. Like Courtney says, it's not healthy if they want to spend all their time with you. That is a warning sign that things are getting unhealthy. All right, so we thought about what makes a healthy relationship. We thought about some warning signs. Now we're going to talk about what are deal breakers. What are things that cannot happen in a relationship?
If you try to talk to your partner and they won't listen or they don't change the unhealthy things they're doing, then it might be time for you to leave the relationship. If you do decide to leave the relationship, remember to reach out to your friends and family in your blue circle to get help and support. Sometimes people do things in relationships that are so unhealthy and so unsafe, it means that the relationship needs to end for the safety of both people. We call these things deal breakers. In a relationship, anytime one person hurts another person using their body, their words, or by making them have sex, that's a deal breaker. The first kind of deal breaker we're going to talk about is physical abuse. That means that one person in the relationship hurts the body of the other person in the relationship. They might hit them, they might kick them, they might push them. Anything they do to hurt their body is physical abuse. It's important to remember that it's never okay for your partner to use their body to hurt you. Grabbing your arm and making you stay isn't okay, and that's physical abuse. Or standing in your way so you can't leave a room, that's also not okay, and that's physical abuse. Physical abuse usually starts out with smaller things like your partner grabbing you or pushing you. But these things really aren't little. They're an important sign that the relationship is becoming unsafe. If your partner ever hurts your body or makes you feel unsafe, tell someone right away. The second kind of deal breaker we're going to talk about is called verbal abuse. This is when someone uses their words to hurt the other person in the relationship. They might do it in person by calling them mean names or threatening to hurt them or saying things that they know will hurt their feelings. Or they might do it online through text messages by sending text messages that say mean things or call them names. Or they could even do it on social media by posting mean or rude comments on their social media posts. Verbal abuse also usually starts out with things that seem small, like one partner teasing the other partner, but in a way that's kind of mean. If you ever notice that your partner is putting you down or making fun of you, calling you names, or saying things just to hurt your feelings and make you feel bad, tell someone in your blue circle right away. The last kind of deal breaker we're going to talk about is called sexual abuse. This is when one person makes another person have sex or be sexual. Sexual abuse in relationships is never okay. The only time that two people should have sex or be sexual is when they both want to and they both give excited consent. Remember, for it to be consent, both people have to be awake, sober, there can't be any pressure, and both people have to give an excited yes. If you ever feel like your partner or anyone else is trying to pressure you or make you have sex or be sexual, tell someone in your blue circle right away. Another example of sexual abuse is when one person tries to make the other person in the relationship send them naked or sexual pictures. They might threaten them or tell them that they don't love them if they don't send the naked pictures. This is not okay. If your partner ever takes their condom off while you're having sex, when you've both agreed to use a condom, or they lie about using some other form of birth control, this is also sexual abuse. If this ever happens in your relationship, tell someone in your blue right away. It's important to remember that if anyone ever hurts you in a relationship, it's not your fault. You didn't do anything wrong. Remember that you have friends and family and other people who love you. You are not alone. If one person is hurting another person in a relationship with their words, their body, or making them have sex, then that relationship is not safe and healthy anymore. That relationship needs to end for the safety of both people. If you've been hurt in a relationship or someone you know has been hurt in a relationship, remember that you can get help. You can talk to the people in your blue, you can also call 911, and you can always call SAFE.
All right, y'all, so we're going to play our game again. This time you're going to think, is this a healthy thing or is this a deal breaker? So same thing, healthy or deal breaker. The person makes big relationship decisions with you. Y'all decide together big things in your relationship. Thumbs up for healthy, thumbs down for deal breaker, or put it in the chat. You make your big decisions together. Let's see, what do y'all think? Eric gives that a thumbs up. Stacy's giving that a thumbs up. Robert's giving it like an awesome sign. See, Beverly's giving that the thumbs up. Shaishala's giving that a thumbs up. Yes, I agree with y'all. That's super important. Oh, I see Robert's giving it the thumbs up emoji too. Lucas says that's healthy. It is totally healthy to make those big decisions with your partner. Y'all are right on. Let's look at another one. The person pressures you to have sex when you don't want to. That means they try to get you to do it even though you don't want to. They're pressuring you to have sex when you don't want to. Is that healthy or is that a deal breaker? What do y'all think? Shaishala gives that a thumbs down. Eric gives that a thumbs down. Beverly gives that a thumbs down. Robert gives that the triple thumbs down. Courtney's like, absolutely no way. The deal breaker X. Yes, I agree with y'all. It's never okay, right? It's you have to get consent. Maggie's going to talk in just a minute about consent. That means you got to get someone's permission to do something. And it's never okay to try to make someone do something they don't want to do. And it's never okay for someone to do that to you. Lucas says not healthy. Y'all are right. Let's do a couple more. The person hits you. What do y'all think? Healthy or a deal breaker? Relationship needs to end. If the person hits you. Eric's saying deal breaker. Stacy's saying deal breaker. Beverly says deal breaker. Let's give y'all a second. I know a lot of people are using the chat. Yeah. Courtney says deal breaker. Shaishala gives that triple thumbs down. Robert says not healthy. Never okay for someone to hurt your body in a relationship. That's never okay. All right. The person calls you mean names in person and online. They're calling you mean names. They're making fun of you. They're saying mean things to you on your Instagram, on your Snapchat, on Facebook, and when they see you in person. Healthy or deal breaker? Eric says deal breaker. Shaishala says no. Beverly says no. Stacy says no. Courtney's giving it the X. Yes. Y'all are right. You've totally picked up on this. Never okay for someone to make fun of you, call you mean names. Lucas gives it the X. That's not love. That's not okay. All right, this is our last one. The person makes you feel safe. You feel safe with that person. Is that healthy? Is that a deal breaker? Robert says definitely deal breaker about the last one. Eric says this one is safe. Or this one is healthy. What do you think, Beverly? Should you feel healthy with, or should you feel safe with the person you're dating? Should they make you feel safe? Yeah, Beverly gives us a hand. Ooh, I'm really struggling with my words for a second here. Gives that a thumbs up. Stacy says healthy. Lucas says healthy. Courtney's giving it the like smile and the hearts emoji. I love that. Robert says that's healthy. You should feel that way. And Shaishala gives that the thumbs up. Nice, y'all. So let's review real quick. I think y'all got this. There are 3 types of deal breakers. Physical abuse, when someone's hurting your body or threatens to hurt your body, right? They're like, I'm going to hurt you. I'm going to kill you. I'm going to make you pay. None of that is okay. Verbal abuse, when someone says mean things, calls you names, or uses their words to hurt you. Or sexual abuse, when someone touches you without your permission, without your consent, or makes you have sex or makes you do sexual things. All of those, big X, deal breaker, not okay, not even once. So it's important to remember, just like Heidi said in the video, that if this has ever happened to you, if you've ever been hurt, it is not your fault. So that means you didn't do anything wrong. You didn't do anything to deserve that, right? That is the fault of the other person. The person who hurt you is the one who did something wrong. You don't have to feel ashamed because you did not do anything wrong. And you're not alone. So you can get help. You can get help from your blue circle of trust. So y'all, these are the people you know and love and trust the most in the world. The first people you go to if you ever need help. So I would love to see y'all share in the chat, who is someone you really love and trust that you would go to if you need help? Courtney says, my best friend, love it. Yes, it's a great example. Stacy goes to her sisters. Yes, sisters can be a great source of support. Lucas says my best friend. Robert says my best friend, Bill. I love that y'all have such great friends that are coming to mind. That's amazing. Having those great best friends is huge. Who else would y'all go to if you needed help? Shaishala would also go to her sisters. Nice. I'm gonna give one more minute in case anyone's gonna chat in. Cindy would go to her mom. I would go to my mom too. She's definitely someone that I really trust, that if I needed help, I would call my mom up, ask her for help. And everyone's circle of trust looks a little different, but it's really important to think about who is that person you trust that you can go to if you need help. And if the first person you tell doesn't believe you, or they don't support you, if they're like, oh, that doesn't sound so bad, or I don't think that really happened, or oh, I don't think you're telling the truth, it's really important to tell someone else. Keep telling someone until someone believes you and they get help, right? Because you deserve help. And so you got to keep talking until someone is like, I believe you and I'm going to help you. Courtney says it could even be a neighbor. Absolutely. Yes. A lot of times we have a neighbor. If you're really in need of help, you can go to your neighbor and be like, hey, can you help me out? Someone's hurting me. If you're at work and you have a good relationship with your boss or your coworkers, you might be able to get help. If you take a class, you might be able to go to the teacher. There's lots of different people you can go to for help. In an emergency, you can also always call 911 if you need emergency help. All right, y'all, so that's a little bit about healthy relationships, about getting help. Now I'm going to pass it over to Maggie, who's going to talk about consent.
Thank you for doing all that talking, Megan. Now I'll have some water. Okay, so we're going to talk a little bit about consent, and let's do a check-in. If someone is seeking your consent, should they ask first? Or should they just go ahead? They should ask first, and then whatever the answer is, it needs to be respected. So if someone asks you and you give your answer, no one should try to change your mind. They should respect your answer. And how do you say no? There's a lot of ways that you can say no. You can say no, right? You could say, not right now. You could use body language. You could turn your back. You could cross your arms. You could, because sometimes you don't actually have to say no, because your body can say it as well. You can say nope, not today, any of those kinds of words. Can anyone think of any other ways that we could say no that maybe I didn't say?
How about I'm not ready yet?
That is a great one. I'm not ready yet. Very good. Walk away. Yes, thank you. You could just walk away. You could use American Sign Language and sign no. You could shake your head like this. No. Not feeling it tonight is what Robert says. Good. These are all good ways to say no. So when you are getting ready to have some special feelings with someone that you like and you want to act on them, both people have to give consent. If one person gives consent, then it's not enough. Both people have to be willing to give consent and say yes. And not just a little bit of consent. They need to be able to say it excitedly, yes, right? If they kind of go, it doesn't really sound like consent to me, right? It sounds like they're kind of reluctant or unsure. The person has to be thinking clearly to give their consent. If they've been drinking alcohol or if they're asleep, if you're asleep, can you agree to anything? Can you give consent? No. You have to be conscious to give consent. And if someone is pressuring you, that is not consent. If someone says, oh, kiss me, or I'm going to tell about what you did yesterday, then that's not okay, because that person might give their consent, but it's because they were pressured. And it's okay to change your mind. So you may consent in the beginning, but then decide it's not for you, or you're not ready, or you don't like it. And that's okay. You can say stop. And when you say stop or when you say no, it needs to be respected. So thinking clearly means both people are awake, no one is drunk, and no one is doing drugs. And you have to say yes in an excited way, not just a soft, quiet, And remember, you can change your mind at any time, and the other person can change their mind at any time as well. And those mind changes need to be respected. So when there's pressure involved, it could mean that someone is being threatened. if you don't do this, then I'm going to do this, right? Well, that's pressure. If you're making someone feel bad if they won't do something, for example, if you really loved me, you would kiss me. Okay, well, that is pressure. That's not okay, because you're making someone feel bad if they won't do something that you want. And if someone offers you something in exchange for sex, it's definitely not okay. If someone says, I'll give you a ride to somewhere, or I'll give you money, or any of those things, I'll give you something in exchange for sex, that is definitely not okay. Also, remember, there's ongoing check-ins. So consent isn't just a one-time thing. If you, let's say you're making out and you decide, I don't like this, I feel really uncomfortable, that's okay. You changed your mind, and you should consent and do a check-in with each other. And you can always ask and say, is this okay? Are you okay with this? And make sure that the other person is okay. Okay, so we're gonna play a game, and you might recognize one of the actresses here in this video. And what I want you to do is, after we watch this short little clip, we're going to give a thumbs up, or we're going to give a thumbs down for each of these 3 criteria: thinking clearly, being excited. Sorry, I have to move my chat. And an excited yes, and no pressure.
Hey, you want to have sex?
Yeah, I guess so. I mean, if you want to.
Okay, was that person Megan thinking clearly? Give me a thumbs up if you think she was clearly. Did she seem like she was asleep or under the influence of drugs or alcohol? Do you think she was thinking clearly? Give me a thumbs up or a thumbs down. I see a couple of thumbs up. I see a thumbs down. Okay, to me, she looked like she was thinking clearly. She didn't appear like she was under the influence of anything, and she definitely wasn't asleep. Did she give an excited yes? Was she like, yes, let's have sex? Was she excited? No. Very good. She was kind of like, yeah, I guess so. She wasn't even looking at him when she answered. Her body language and her words clearly did not make her sound excited at all. Do you think there was no pressure? Or do you think she felt pressured? Was he pressuring her? Thumbs up, thumbs down? Yeah.
Maggie, you're asking, was there pressure? Like thumbs up or thumbs down to if there was pressure?
Oh, sorry. No pressure.
Okay, got it. No, I'm just trying to.
Sorry.
No, you're good. You're good. It looks like people are putting it in the chat anyway.
So, right, there was no pressure. I mean, he basically said, hey, you want to have sex? And that was it. So there wasn't really any pressure. But to give consent, you have to have all 3 of these checked. You have to be thinking clearly, excited yes, and no pressure. So in this scenario, did Megan give her consent? Yes or no? No. Good. She did not meet all 3 of the criteria. She got 2 of them, but she definitely did not give an excited yes. Good. Okay, here's the next scenario.
Man, I really want to go to the Justin Bieber concert.
I've got 2 tickets. I'll give you one if you kiss me.
Oh, I don't know. I mean, I really want to go to the concert, but I'm not sure about kissing you. I mean, I guess.
Okay, so let's look at the 3 criteria. Was she thinking clearly? Right, good, thumbs up. She did not seem like she was under the influence of drugs or alcohol or sleeping. Did she give an excited yes? Was she enthusiastic about this? Good. No, she wasn't. She said, I don't know if I really want to do that. Maybe, I guess. Do you think she felt no pressure? I think she felt pressure, right? She was feeling pressure. He said, oh, I have tickets to that concert you want to go to, but you have to do this for me. Now, remember, if anyone wants to exchange something with you for sex, that is not okay, and that is not consent. So in that scenario, did all 3 of those criteria get met to give consent? No. So the only one that was even met was thinking clearly. So that definitely was not consent. Okay, this is the last one.
And it's such a great party. I've had so many beers.
Yeah, it is a great party. Let's go upstairs and make out.
Okay.
Okay, well, now we're going to talk about him, okay? Was he thinking clearly? Stacy says no. What's a kind of a dead giveaway right away when we look here? What's he got in his hand? Right, he has a beer. He's kind of got some slurred speech going on. He definitely doesn't seem like he's thinking clearly. Did he give an excited yes? Was he excited about going upstairs? No, he didn't seem like it. And look what Megan is doing. She's touching him. She's putting her arm on his shoulder. What do you think? Was there no pressure for him to go upstairs? There was pressure. She even put physical pressure on him to pull his arm to follow her. So this one is definitely no, not consent. He wasn't thinking clearly. He didn't give an excited yes, and he was pressured. Oh, we have one more.
Hey, I'd kind of like to have sex tonight. Are you in the mood?
Yeah, that sounds great.
Awesome.
All right. Were they both thinking clearly? They kind of seemed like it to me. They were, they weren't having any slurred speech. It didn't seem like they were under the influence of anything. I think they were both thinking clearly. Did each of them give a kind of an excited yes to the idea of having sex? Yeah, they both were like, yeah, let's do this. So they were both excited about it. And was there any pressure involved? Did she pressure him or he pressure her or offer to exchange anything? There was no pressure at all. Look, we've got 3 checks. This is the first one where we've had all 3 checks. So was this consent? Were both parties agreeable to it? They were excited. They were thinking clearly. Yes, it's consent. Thank you for playing our consent game. Can I tell them who that is, Megan?
Sure. Yeah.
By the way, that's Megan's husband. He's such a good sport.
He always gets roped into my videos.
Okay, so finally, we're going to talk about having a safety plan. It's important to have one. Everyone should have a safety plan. You should put it somewhere where you will remember where it is and where you can find it easily, because it has information that you will need if you do ever need to leave for your own safety. So safety plans might look different. You can probably find some that you can print out online. You can get one from us if you want, but they all kind of have the same information. So on this safety plan, it says, when someone is hurting and I am scared, hurt, or nervous, what's going to happen? When someone is hurting me and I'm scared, hurt, or nervous.
Yeah, so sometimes we think about like how you would feel if someone's hurting you and really paying attention to your emotions, because a lot of times we try to talk ourselves out of it, almost like, oh, it's not a big deal. I guess it doesn't matter. But really important to pay attention to those feelings.
Right. How would you feel if someone was hurting you? You'd feel scared most likely, or hurt, or nervous. That's right. So pay attention to those feelings. Whatever your feelings are, that's right. That's the truth. That's how you're feeling. No one else can tell you how you're feeling. Only you can. So when that happens, I will say or I will do. Let's think about that for a minute. If you're safe, say no or stop. Just leave. Look for help. So if you need to get help, first I will tell, and think about that blue circle. Who in that blue circle would you want to tell first if you needed help? Now there's a space here where you can write that person's name and their phone number. And if that person is not available or they're busy and don't pick up, you should have a backup. And the backup, put their name and phone number on there as well. If it's an emergency situation and you need help right away, always call 911. So are you going to write a safety plan and then put it, fold it up really tiny and stick it in the bottom of your sock drawer? That's probably not the best place. If you're feeling scared and you're not thinking that clearly because you're feeling scared, you might not remember that you've got some tiny folded up piece of paper at the bottom of your sock drawer. So we caution people to put it somewhere where you will remember and where it's easy to find. Some people post it on their refrigerator.
I see in the chat, Courtney says if you have a cell phone, you can even save a copy on your phone too.
That's right. Sorry, my chat's not updating. Right. If you have it on your cell phone, and maybe you could even save it under a different name so that you can find it easily if you need help, or if you don't want someone else to see you calling that number. Sometimes people will do that.
Maggie, sorry.
Go ahead.
I was just gonna say, should we open it up to questions?
Yeah. Does anyone have questions about having a safety plan? I have seen them where there's medications listed, like if you're gonna leave, make sure you grab your medicine. Sometimes there might be just some more reminders of things you might want to take if you have time to grab it. If a medication is something that's really important and you really, really need it, I might write that down on my safety plan.
I know Cindy, I think you were going to stop recording too, right? So if people want to ask just general questions about healthy and unhealthy relationships, I think